Hey, you're watching TechCrunch TV. My name is Colleen Taylor. I'm in San Francisco at the headquarters of AngelPad, where the technology startup incubator is having its demo day. And sitting with me is Korte, who is the founder of AngelPad. Thank you for having us here.
Thank you for coming. This is great.
So you just wrapped 12 startups presented on stage, and I want to hear about this class in particular, but just in general, can you tell us how AngelPad has been going lately?
Yeah, so 2 years ago this barely existed. You know, this is the fifth class that we do now, the fifth session we just wrapped up today with the 12 companies. In total, we've had 62 companies going through it so far, well over 150 founders, and for me it's just mind-boggling how fast all this happened. You know, the last 2 years is just a blur. And in the last session, we had 11 companies presenting. You know, 8 of those end up raising pretty significant rounds. Unfortunately, I can't tell you which one. None of them have announced who they are, but it's been a lot of fun. Last funding, and certainly this one as well.
Now, when you talk about funding, can you get specific at all? Like, how much funding are we talking about? You know, in aggregate, at these significant
I can do
rounds?
aggregate numbers. Yeah. So the 8 companies that raised funded ended up being. This is doomed.
It's just going to be fine. Just keep going.
We're recording.
Do you want this Series A investor with like balance?
That's important.
Are you rolling? Get a card. There's someone with money. All right.
We're just going to keep going. This is demo day at its finest.
All right. This is what's happening. So this, by the way, is Korte, my wife, and a partner at AngelPad. So yeah, sorry, ask me again.
You were just about to give me like the aggregate numbers of
Yes. So
funding.
we had the 8 companies. They raised about 12.5 million total. You know, about 1.6 million in on average. But again, don't let average fool you. There's wide discrepancies. But they haven't announced any of yet. That's going to come over the next few weeks.
Okay. And so what about this class? What can you tell me about? You know, what are the trends here? What's hot? What are we not seeing anymore?
We've had really, you know, applications throughout about everything. So what was interesting, we had a lot of international applications this time. We still got around 2,000 applications this time. We interviewed 140 companies and chose 12 of them. And it really, you know, at AngelPad, we always have to look that we have a very broad range. They are here in the same office. You know, they exchange a lot of information. We can't have competing companies. So it really, the gamut goes from B2B marketplaces. We've had quite a theme in B2B marketplaces. 3 of them here, one for legal, one for real estate, and another one for small, medium purchases and procurement. And then we had a whole theme around tablet computing and couch computing, as it's now called, where we changed the way how computers are used and how we interact with mostly consumer products. And then lastly, we always have, you know, we love enterprise. We always have good enterprise companies, lots of them. 5 enterprise companies, anything from, you know, cloud management all the way to big data analytics, and you know, we really throughout have a very good time with them.
And just in this time since these companies have presented, so just in the past few minutes, but you're out there every day, you know, talking to investors and things. What do you see as the sort of larger tone?
You see right now, for consumer companies, especially mobile-first consumer companies, it's really tough to get that first check, I think. The apps ecosystem is a bit broken. The way we discover apps, you know, like I used to download a lot of apps. Like if you ask me now when's the last time you downloaded an app, I'm like, the ones I downloaded is because someone told me about it. It wasn't because I saw an ad. It wasn't because I went to the top 10 store, you know, on Android or on iOS. So I think it's really, really difficult for consumer companies that do mobile first just to get investors excited. I'm not saying they're not great companies. It's just from the investment perspective. What we see right now in enterprise is really interesting. There's a lot of investors that, you know, a year ago, 2 years ago, really haven't looked at enterprise seriously. And I think with the successes of kind of, you know, Box and Dropbox even, going into enterprise and really scaling in a different way than just with this pure sales force, you see a lot of interest in enterprise. You know, cloud computing is here to stay. You know, in Silicon Valley, we think cloud computing has been here for a long time, but the reality is true businesses, real big corporations, private clouds, you know, VMware, that kind of stuff, they're just getting there, and there's a lot to be done in that. And the beauty about that is there is real money involved in this, and investors like that.
That was going to be my next question, because it seems like that's the underlying thing here, and a lot of your startups today kind of already had a revenue plan, and some of them already making revenues. Is that something that's changed?
It has a little bit. You know, you see the the incubator, accelerator ecosystem, I think, changing a little bit, where somewhat more mature companies, and more mature meaning, instead of 3 weeks, maybe 6 months old. And we specifically look at companies where founders have worked together for a while, either at a company or in their own venture. It's really hard these days to just go somewhere with an idea and say, hey, I have an idea, let's do this. If you, between the time that you apply and that we interview you, right there is 3 months. If you haven't built something in those 3 months, you're probably not going to build something the next 3 months either. So you see companies starting, being slightly more mature, coming into AngelPad. And with that, you see the traction being different. One company has $27 million in revenue in the past 4 months. Not revenue, revenue throughput through their platform.
Right,
Let's clarify
right,
that.
Processing.
Exactly. So you see more of that, definitely. And I think that's going to continue to be a trend, at least for AngelPad, where companies that have been in business for 6 months, 8 months, maybe even a year, looking at this and saying, how can we scale this to the next level?
So looking forward here, this class is just about to fly the coop. What's next for AngelPad, for 2013? Are you going to keep it this size? It seems like there's a lot of demand that you could grow. What's your mindset?
We try to stay really disciplined and just having a very rigorous filter on who we let in here. We've always said it's going to be 10 to 15 companies, maybe a little more, and we just look we don't say we need to fill spots. We say we're going to look for as many great companies we can until the space kind of gets expand or is not expandable. And the same way our time, just the mentor time. We spend so much time with them. We're literally this sitting in my office. We're with them every day for hours and hours, and it's hard to scale that. So for us, it's going to look probably very similar to what it does, what it is today.
And last question here, because you had said when we started this interview that 2 years ago none of this existed. It's been kind of a very whirlwind couple of years here. Is there one lesson that you feel like you've learned, or something that you did in the early days that you look back and think, I'll never do that again?
There's a lot of things we've learned throughout, really. I mean, every session we learn more things. And one thing, when we initially started this, I really thought this was about the time that we spent with them and kind of getting them ready for the next set of investors. And what we've realized throughout is that we have a very big impact very early on. And kind of, our goal is to change the trajectory of the company just slightly, so that over time that really accumulates to a big change. But the other part that we've seen that I didn't foresee at the time is how involved we are after they leave AngelPad. There is this large gap between seed rounds and A rounds, where very few investors are active, really taking care of these companies, putting a lot of money to work and a lot of time with that to work. So we spend quite a bit of time with a subset of the companies through the A round. In a way, that's been a new experience for me too, because we get into different problems. It's the dynamics between the founders change as companies grow. The first set of employees, kind of creating this culture of your own. Everything starting from like your own office, where you create your real identity, to how you hire and how you find those people, and then really going into the next set of investors to keep growing the company.
Great. Well, Tomas, Korte, AngelPad, I'm going to let you get back to your public here, because there's still a ton of people here, but thank you for having us.
Thank you for coming back. Thank you, Colleen.